Live tonight, Sneha, thanks very much. You're following that story. Devi Shetty, chairman of Narayana, Hrudalaya, one of India's icons as far as healthcare is concerned. Dr. Kunal Saha is a petitioner in this case, been fighting from Ohio in the United States of America. Arati Jerath, senior journalist, the BJP, Sheshadri Chari, and the Congress party, Sanjay Jha. Devi Shetty, to start with you, what is the impact of this letter now? We now know the clear reason why the health secretary was removed, because he took on Ghulam Nabi Azad on the issue of Ketan Desai, and he said to the minister that if you let this man officially or unofficially run the Medical Council of India, it will be the end of merit for all medical students and those hoping to get a medical education in the country. Why was he making this point, and what does this letter reveal? Devi Shetty.
There is a problem with medical education. It is a foregone conclusion that medical education in this country is very corrupt. Now, how deeply entrenched with corruption with all the policymakers and other things, it's very difficult for people like us to know. All I can say is that we have we are responsible for the greatest disservice to the society. Because we cannot differentiate healthcare from medical education. And knowing Keshav Desi Raju, he is a fantastic bureaucrat. Country should be proud of an officer like him. Whatever has happened is unfortunate.
Now, he's been very quiet on this, Devi Shetty. Obviously, he's not ever told the reasons or gone into details about why he was removed. He's being very disciplined here. He's not spoken out once, but this letter reveals the real story that he was. Isn't it the worst known secret today, worst kept secret in the medical sector, that the health secretary was removed because he was fighting against Ketan Desai? What makes this man Ketan Desai so powerful, Devi Shetty?
I cannot really answer that specific question, but all I can say is that Medical Council is very, very powerful, extremely powerful in medical education, and lot of there is corruption at every level of medical education. So there are a lot of vested interests, definitely.
Well, you'd know they'd put you there in charge, and I know that in certain circumstances where you were not given full operational freedom, you yourself chose to step down. Devi Shetty, I'm going to come back to you. Sheshadri Chari, is Ghulam Nabi Azad himself responsible? Why has the BJP not made a big deal of this?
No, since this issue has broken out today,
yeah.
I think the party will respond. But prima facie, I think what has happened in the Indian Medical Council is something terribly wrong. And a person who was tainted, who was under scanner, who was arrested.
Yeah.
And he managed to make his way into the Indian Medical Council. Not only that, for the last 2 or 3 years, the Medical Council was being administered by a group of persons. This was a special arrangement done by this very government, the UPA government.
You think it's possible without the permission of the government, without the tacit approval of the health minister?
Not at all. It's not possible. I think the health minister is directly responsible for bringing such a person back into the hot seat. And if you see, the biggest accusation against him was granting special status to colleges, giving more private colleges, and allocating number of seats to colleges, medical colleges. And allocation of seats are done on the basis of clinical footprints.
Yes.
So a hospital, I mean, you have got a KEM Parel hospital, you have got Sion hospital, you have got so many hospitals in Bombay, in so many other places also, AIIMS. The seats of AIIMS are not increased. The seats of KEM colleges, Nair colleges not increased. Seats of these government colleges where number of people come are not increased. Surprisingly, private colleges which were started yesterday or day before yesterday or last year or 2 years back, suddenly get 200 seats, 300 seats. How is it possible?
So the non-meritorious student here, Sanjay Jha, who can pay his way through, can get a medical seat. But the meritorious student doesn't. And who's carrying all of this out? It is the same corrupt forces in the Medical Council of India. Who's fighting the corrupt forces? The health secretary. Who's protecting the corrupt forces? The health minister. Who's supporting the health minister? Top bureaucrats in the Prime Minister's office. Now, I have a letter with me, and since it's all on record, Sanjay Jha, that the health secretary was fighting Ghulam Nabi Azad's attempts to give some kind of free play to these corrupt people who, if allowed to continue unchecked, can lead to the end of merit in India. Should he not have been rewarded, awarded, and recognized instead of being shunted out unceremoniously by the minister without the least explanation provided, other than the ridiculous explanation that the man looks at his telephone,
sends
SMSs during official meetings? Of all your government scams, this one is the most blatant, Sanjay Jha. This one is the most blatant, even you'll agree.
Okay, Arnab. Sure. I hope you'll defy history and give me 1 minute of uninterrupted time to try and answer your question. Point number one, it is extremely presumptuous to believe that India's health minister is going to allow somebody who's controversial, has been arrested by the CBI on corruption charges, to return to the medical council. I mean, this is an assumption you're making, and all the charges that you're
there is no assumption I'm making. There is no assumption I'm making. No, 1 second, Sanjay.
That the health
Sanjay, there is no assumption. Let me tell you here. No, you are making an assumption in saying that. No, but there is no assumption.
Is there a mala fide?
But there is no assumption.
Is there a mala fide established on what
now let me tell you. Now
are you making that assumption?
There is first of all, Sanjay.
Anyway, point number two.
Sanjay, 1 minute. Sanjay, just a minute before you go to point number two. Let me correct you on your point number one, which is the assumption that I've made an assumption. I make no assumptions. I have a letter with me. In a letter, an honest bureaucrat is making a plea to the minister, saying, Mr. Minister, don't allow this. Mr. Minister, set things right in the Medical Council of India. Mr. Minister, weed out undesirable elements. How is my reading out an official letter of the health secretary to the health minister an assumption? He says, and I quote, there is every likelihood that if these forces continue, we will be forced to approve and notify decisions regarding causes, new admissions, which will be made on grounds other than merit alone. This will lead to a very unfortunate position for the government. I am quoting the letter, Sanjay Jha. I am not making any assumptions. You are making assumptions.
Well, Arnab.
This letter.
All right.
This letter reveals a lot, doesn't it?
It's very clear. Not only that.
Let me answer you.
No, the letter is here.
Arnab, give me an opportunity to answer you. The point is that when the health secretary, let me tell you, the health ministry, you don't have to mention a particular officer. The health ministry has refused to notify the nomination done by the Gujarat government or the university under pretty much Mr. Narendra Modi's supervision and suzerainty that Mr. Sheshadri Chari very conveniently ignored. The health ministry.
No, what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
Now, you are giving the credit.
What are you suggesting?
1 minute. You are giving. What are you suggesting to the health secretary? I'm saying the health minister has endorsed that. What makes you think that the health minister should not be given equal credit for not allowing the nomination from the Gujarat government of Mr. Ketan Desai back to the medical council? You only seem to be giving the benefit to the health secretary, and why not? He must be a very good officer. But why aren't you giving the credit to the health minister? And while you are quoting the letter, Arnab, why are you not mentioning to the viewers of Newshour and to your panelists that the health minister has actually mentioned in his letter that he wanted to remove the discretion given to the bureaucrats in the health ministry?
Yes. So the fact is,
these are things
the fact is,
he said that he was
what is the sum total? What is the sum total, Sanjay? Sanjay, what is the sum total? The sum total is that the sum total
assumptions, please.
The sum total is zero assumptions, a lot of fact. And a lot of fact will continue to be thrown in the case of this story. Ghulam Nabi Azad, the health minister, writes a letter to Cabinet Secretary Ajit Seth. I have all the letters. I make no assumptions. I have that letter as well with me, in which he says, I am reluctant in accepting Ketan Desai's nomination. This letter was on Times Now 3 days back, please. In his complaints to the Cabinet Secretary about Desi Raju, Ghulam Nabi Azad conveniently fails to mention that Desi Raju, the health secretary, had himself in a file noting to the health minister expressed serious reservations about Ketan Desai's reappointment. So Arati Jerath, the question is this: the health minister writes a letter to the Cabinet Secretary not revealing the facts that the health secretary was fighting Ketan Desai. So it's incomplete facts he's putting out there. And who's the person shunted, Arati Jerath? It is the health secretary.
Absolutely. That's right. And you know, Arnab, Desi Raju has such an impeccable reputation. You talk to any health activist, anybody in the health sector, they speak so highly of this bureaucrat. It's been a long time since we've had a bureaucrat who is so well respected in the sector that he's in charge of. And you know, and there is a Supreme Court order which says that anybody in charge of a ministry should be given a 2-year tenure. Now you've shunted this man out within 11 months. You've violated that Supreme Court order which asks for stability of tenure for top bureaucrats. I mean, you know, and you don't give any real reason. So, you know, clearly there's something fishy here. And
no,
it's sad that, you know, in its dying moments, this government is getting itself into fresh controversy almost on a daily basis.
But it doesn't seem to care. So, obviously, you know, the one concern which comes to our mind is...
Have you read the letter? Arti, have you read the letter of the health minister to the cabinet secretary where he's pointed out an extremely embarrassing experience? And I'm not sitting here to criticize the health secretary, where he's talked about a project which was talked about by the health secretary, which was ridiculously exaggerated and got the health minister...
No, it was not exaggerated. There was a typo. No, it was not exaggerated. No, please. No, Sanjay. No, 1 minute, Sanjay. We are talking about very serious matters. In fact, let me tell you.
Several cases. So you need to have a more holistic debate, Arnab.
No, please, Sanjay.
And let me tell you, end of day, the health minister is responsible for the functioning of the entire ministry.
Sanjay.
He has a right to take a call.
He's accountable to us.
His own ability to work
he's accountable to us.
With the bureaucrats.
He's accountable to us.
To work with him in a manner which is, you know, possibly more efficient and effective.
You know,
that's all.
By the way, I don't think
you can link the transfer to anything to do with Mr. Ketan Desai whatsoever.
Raju has
I think
been
Mr.
in the
Ketan
health
Desai is a highly controversial
for 4 years now.
And has to be...
Yes, Arti. I think we are getting a response from our guest in Ohio as well.
Ketan Desai is an extremely controversial man.
Has been in the
he was arrested on corruption charges
and he has been working with Ghulam Nabi Azad for 4 years. How come Ghulam Nabi Azad didn't have any problems with him earlier?
He only has a problem when he questions Ketan
Desai's appointment. Exactly. And that too through an ordinance
That's
route.
Right.
No, they have given through this ordinance they have given
Sanjay, 1 minute.
The central government. You know, this government seems to be on an ordinance route.
On everything, yeah.
On everything.
Yeah.
And this again is an ordinance route which the government has taken all powers of MCA in their hands.
Yeah.
And through backdoor they want to bring Ketan Desai. In spite of the fact that there is a case against him and he is out on bail.
You know, Arnab,
Sanjay, 1 minute. Sanjay, hold your thoughts for a minute.
Ketan Desai.
Sanjay, hold your thoughts for a minute. Hold your thoughts for a minute. Now, you know, some things can't be laughed off. The fact is this, that Ghulam Nabi Azad writes a complaint about Desi Raju to the cabinet secretary on February 24th. He fails to mention that Desi Raju wrote a letter to him saying that please save the Medical Council of India. And he tells, the health secretary tells the health minister that, sir, the situation is so bad, so many students will be affected, merit will be finished, courses will be changed, admission policies will be played around with, the situation will become so bad that to get a medical seat will become a corrupt experience which many honest Indians may not want to go through. So he tells Ghulam Nabi Azad, and that's my question, he tells Ghulam Nabi Azad, you can promulgate an ordinance to empower the government more in matters concerning the Medical Council of India. Now the simple point, Sanjay Jha, is this which you are failing to understand. That the government A knows that the Medical Council of India is not being run in the right way. B is aware that the Medical Council of India is allegedly being run by cronies of Ketan Desai, right? And yet, despite being told by the health secretary, intervene and bring in an ordinance, the government doesn't do anything. In fact, it punishes the person, Kunal Saha. It punishes the person who made an honest suggestion. What does this reveal, Kunal Saha in Ohio? Would you tell Sanjay Jha what it reveals in your view? Okay, we lost the Skype link again out there. Let's try and see if we can get him back. No.
The truth is Ketan Desai has not been accepted by the health ministry.
That is the bottom line. There you are. Whatever
you see, that's quicksand. Today has already been answered.
That's quicksand, Sanjay. That's quicksand.
Desai has not been notified into the Medical Council of India. 1 minute. At the second point.
Sanjay, what is the issue out here which you are not failing to understand?
1 minute.
No, 1 minute. I'll give you 1 minute after you understand the fact. Ketan Desai.
Who has nominated him to the Medical Council?
Ketan Desai is effectively running the Medical Council of India. You have somebody who's a whistleblower who is saying that this whole Medical Council of India has been taken over by a group led. Please listen, Sanjay, listen. Sanjay, please listen.
Why are you telling the people who has nominated Ketan Desai to the Medical Council? It is from Gujarat that he's been nominated. Why are the people aware that in 2001 under the NDA regime, it was Mr. Desai
I think you should answer that.
Guilty of corruption then, and he was removed from his job on a High Court order. So there are, if there is a political angle, it is for the BJP to explain that.
No, but you know that's
the Union Health Minister has not allowed
Sanjay, 1 minute.
to enter the Medical Council.
Sanjay,
he's correct.
By the way,
what are you criticizing him
No, by the way, this is very farcical. I'll say one thing. Because what happens is the moment you ask the Congress party, how come your health minister is allowing Ketan Desai's cronies to run the MCI? They say, but you know, look at the people who sent him from Gujarat. So I said right at the start, there is a possibility this is a Congress-BJP joint scam. Does this take away from the fact that there is a scam? But in any case, Sheshadri Chari, did the BJP government consider the fact that the MCI had suspended Ketan Desai's license to practice medicine in October 2010 after charges of corruption were leveled against him? Did the Gujarat government forget that in October 2010, and I repeat this question, did the Gujarat government forget that in October 2010, it had removed Ketan Desai as the head of urology at the BJ Medical College in Ahmedabad before deciding to renominate him to the Medical Council of India? A person with such a dubious record, I challenge you tonight, Sheshadri Chari. A man with a dubious record cannot be nominated, leave alone be renominated. Do I sniff a BJP hand in this?
No, not at all.
Is there a BJP hand in this?
The question is, Medical Council of India has nothing to do with Gujarat or Narendra Modi. If the Congress wants to bring in Narendra Modi into every issue...
No, the fact is the Gujarat government can intervene under Section 58 of the Gujarat University Act 1949.
It has not been done.
Why was it not done?
It is under
Why
Section
did you not
10A.
intervene?
What has happened here is under Section 10A.
What?
And that is what the Secretary is referring to.
You can choose to look the other way.
You read the letter, it very clearly says...
I am telling you,
it very clearly says...
It very clearly says... Chari, the Gujarat
MCI,
government...
The Health Ministry and the Health Secretary, the Health Minister has every power to stop any nomination.
You are passing the buck. All of you are passing the buck. You are passing the buck.
It's very clear. It is very clear.
You are passing the buck.
The Health Minister is under every power to stop.
Sir, you are passing the buck.
What was he doing?
Sir, you are passing it to the Health Minister. I'm asking. I'll ask the Health Ministry that. By the way,
let the Health Minister and also the Prime Minister and also the Prime Minister answer for this. What is Prime Minister's office doing?
But what explains the silence of the Gujarat government on the nomination of Ketan Desai by the Gujarat University?
Gujarat government cannot do anything in that.
The Gujarat government can intervene under Section 58 of the Gujarat University Act 1949.
Under 10A, nothing can be done.
You can get in on disputes as to the constitution of a university authority or body. You can.
No, there is already a dispute. Already a case going against
don't tell me that if you want to, you cannot intervene. I don't accept that.
No, we cannot intervene. You go through the rules of
Sheshadri
UGC.
Chari, you heard that. We cannot intervene.
You go through the rules of UGC. You can't do that.
We cannot intervene. But in any case, Sheshadri Chari, I don't understand. You accept every single suggestion that is sent by Mr. Narendra Modi government or that has anything to do with Gujarat? You take anything that comes from the Gujarat government or directly or indirectly through the Gujarat government as the last word? Is that why you are saying that this Ketan Desai's renomination came from Gujarat, so we don't say no to anything from Gujarat?
That is for the Health Ministry to announce. That is what the Health Ministry to say.
You have a rebut or none?
What did Health Ministry do? You please tell me. What did Azad do? What did Azad do?
Do you accept everything that comes from Gujarat at face value? Come on, Sanjay Jha, why aren't you answering this time?
Well, I can tell you Sheshadri Chari is being extremely disingenuous on your channel. I can't see his face, but I'm assuming he's usually very poker-faced whenever it comes to a very complex situation. The truth is, this was a recommendation made with the full backing of the BJP as a political party. They are fully aware of it. And the fact that they are backing somebody who in 2001 was arrested on corruption charges, the fact that he's being, again, his name is being nominated, tells you what kind of intent they have.
There are are
one minute,
papers,
Sheshadri,
there are
the
papers,
truth of
talk
the
on the
matter-
basis of these
the
papers.
truth of the matter is that you are trying to link it to the Union Health Minister, whose own ministry has actually refused to accept his nomination. Therefore, you are giving it a political flavor to embarrass
Who
the
is
health
giving it a
minister. It's the
political
other way
favor?
around. And
Who is
that's the
giving it a
reason why you need
political
to be
favor?
exposed today on Newshour.
We are supporting the health secretary to the hilt. What
No,
the
but you
health
need to be
secretary says
exposed
is very
BJP
right.
on Newshour,
Even
because
today,
let me tell you, the track record of the Modi government is for all to see, whether it's Babu
Okay.
Bajrangi,
the subject
whether
is
it's
not
Purushottam
Modi government,
Solanki,
Sanjay
whether
Jha.
it's an industrialist
You,
or the
tomorrow
cover of
the elections
Outlook
will be
magazine.
declared. You can
It's
go
all
about
there for you.
bashing
Please
Modi
read-
government for
please
any
read
number
the
of
cover
period.
the Outlook magazine.
Please come to the facts of the case.
Sheshadri,
Please come to the
please
facts
buy a
of this
weekly
particular
magazine.
case.
It costs 40 rupees. You will get to know the corruption of your government under Mr. Narendra Modi. Add Gujarat Gas, add CAG reports.
That doesn't answer this.
What is he talking
That doesn't
about?
answer this.
This is another
Sanjay, what is he
manifestation of
talking
the
about?
That doesn't
Sanjay, what
answer
are you
this.
talking about? We are talking about MCA. We are talking about a corrupt
This
man
is- this
being
is-
brought in through
No,
back door
I'm-
by
I'm-
your
I'm-
minister.
I'm
You
amazed.
should know.
And especially at the
If I have
time,
to tell you
especially
this on
at the time when
national
medical
channel,
admissions
that means the BJP is
admissions are
really sleeping
opening
at the moment.
No,
At a time,
Mr. Chari, by the way, I have many scams to cover, and I have one more scam to reveal. So I will just ask
Again, there will be a BJP link to it.
No,
You
one
better
second.
check it.
1 second. I don't know, but I certainly know there's a Defense Ministry AK Antony link to it, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But before that, before I let Dr. Shetty go, Dr. Shetty, tell me here, isn't it very bizarre? We have two of the biggest national parties who agree that letting this man directly or indirectly have anything to do with the MCI is completely unacceptable. But yet he does. Yet nobody stops him. Yet his renomination has not been officially sent back. It is still with the Law Ministry. The Health Secretary is still being punished. So two parties both know that what they are doing is wrong and are passing the parcel on Newshour tonight on who is responsible. How ironical, Dr. Shetty.
I think we should really start discussing about the fundamental issue of how do we improve the medical education collectively. That's very, very important. And the one way I can suggest is there is shortage, and as long as there is shortage, there will be corruption. All the characters we are talking about, they will surface with the different names. First, we have to address the shortage, then the corruption will disappear. I think that is the lesson. That is the only message I can give it to the country.
Well, I can only also just add here that Devi Shetty, who is, who's such a respected name in medicine, was forced in certain circumstances. He, of course, will be diplomatic about it, to leave the Medical Council of India. He could not work there because he could not get the operational freedom. But people like Ketan Desai and their cronies are allowed in. What an irony! And if this is the kind of country we want, I think our next generations will really be be compromised. I'll come back to you, Devi Shetty, on that story later. Let's move on to the next scam or the next news report.